You say you're confused, but if you sit alone for a moment, without your phone, without noise, without distraction, something uncomfortable starts to happen. The answers you claim you don't have slowly begin to appear. Not loudly, not clearly, but enough to make you uneasy. And that's the part you run from, because the truth is not missing. It's present. It's just painful. And most people don't struggle with confusion. They struggle with facing what they already know. There was a young man named Armin. Not special, not broken, not different. Just like millions of others. He had dreams, but they were blurry. He had plans, but they never lasted. He had energy, but it disappeared at the wrong time. If you looked at him from the outside, you would say, he just needs direction. And that's exactly what he told himself every day. I just need clarity. I just need to figure things out. Once I know what to do, I'll do it. But that moment never came, not because life was unclear, but because clarity was already there, waiting for him to accept it. His days followed a pattern so subtle that it didn't feel dangerous. He would wake up with intention, not strong, not powerful, but enough to give him hope. He would sit on the edge of his bed and think, today I'll change something. That sentence became a ritual, a promise he made every morning and broke every night. Because as soon as the day started, reality entered. Effort was required. Focus was required. Discipline was required. And his mind quietly resisted. Not aggressively, not obviously, just enough to delay. Start after breakfast. Check your phone first. You deserve a little break. And without realizing it, he slipped. Not in a big dramatic fall, but in small invisible steps. Minutes turned into hours. Hours turned into regret. And the strange part was, he was aware of it. While scrolling, a voice inside him whispered, this is not what you should be doing. While wasting time, something inside him felt wrong. But instead of listening to that voice, he drowned it. More videos, more distraction, more escape. Because facing that voice meant facing responsibility. And responsibility is heavy when you're not used to carrying it. Night was different. Night didn't allow distractions to fully hide the truth. When everything slowed down, when the world became quiet, when there was nothing left to watch, he was left with himself. And that's when the real battle started. He would lie down, staring into darkness, and thoughts would begin to surface. Not motivational thoughts, not hopeful thoughts, honest thoughts. You wasted another day. You said you would change. What are you doing with your life? These thoughts were not new. They visited him every night. And every night he responded the same way. I'm just confused. I don't know what I'm doing. That sentence became his shield. It protected him from guilt. It gave him permission to stay the same. Because if you don't know, you don't have to act. But something was changing inside him, slowly, quietly. His confidence was not breaking in one moment. It was fading in small pieces. Every broken promise, every wasted day, every ignored truth took something away from him. Not his skills, not his opportunities, his self-respect. And once that starts disappearing, life becomes heavier, even if nothing around you changes. One day, something small happened. Something that didn't look important, but it stayed with him. He was sitting with a friend, talking about life, and his friend said casually, "Bro, at least you know what you should be doing. You just don't. Do it." It was said like a joke, but it didn't feel like one. That sentence followed him home. It repeated in his mind again and again. You know, you just don't do it. For the first time, he didn't argue with it. He didn't defend himself. He just felt uncomfortable, because deep down, it was true. That evening, he didn't pick up his phone immediately. That was unusual. Instead, he sat quietly. No music, no videos, just silence. And in that silence, something strange happened. His mind didn't feel confused. It felt clear. Painfully clear. He knew exactly what he had been avoiding. The work he delayed. The habits he refused to build. The discipline he kept escaping. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't complex. It was simple. And that simplicity made it harder to deny. But clarity didn't make him act immediately. Instead, it created tension. Because now he had two choices: face the truth or go back to comfort. And like always, comfort was easier. So he picked up his phone again. But this time, it felt different. The distraction didn't feel enjoyable. It felt like escape. And once you recognize something as escape, it loses its power to fully satisfy you. Days passed, but now there was a crack in his illusion. He could no longer fully believe he was confused. The excuse was weakening. And that made everything harder. Because now, every time he avoided work, he knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't lost. He was choosing not to act. One evening, unable to handle that inner pressure, he left his house and started walking. No destination, no plan, just movement. The air was cool. The streets were quiet. And for once, he didn't carry distraction with him. No phone in his hand, no music in his ears, just his thoughts, raw and unfiltered. He reached a small park and sat on a bench. His mind was restless, but also tired. That kind of tiredness that doesn't come from physical effort, but from constant avoidance. After a while, he noticed an old man sitting nearby, calm, still, observing nothing, yet aware of everything. The old man looked at him briefly and said, "You look like you're carrying something heavy." Armin smiled faintly and replied, "Just confused about life." The old man didn't react immediately. Then he said slowly, "Confusion is rare. Avoidance is common." That sentence landed differently. It didn't comfort him. It challenged him. The old man continued, "People say they are confused when they don't want to accept what they already know." Armin stayed silent, because for the first time, someone said out loud what he had been hiding inside. The old man picked up a dry leaf from the ground and held it in front of him. "Look at this," he said. "It fell because its time was over." It didn't argue. It didn't delay. It didn't pretend. Then he looked at Armin and asked, "Why do humans do that? Why do they pretend not to know when they clearly do?" Armin didn't answer, because the answer was uncomfortable. Then the old man said something that broke through everything. "You are not tired because life is hard. You are tired because you keep running from what is simple." That line stayed in the air, heavy, real, unavoidable. That night, our man went home with a different kind of silence. Not empty silence, aware silence. He sat on his bed and for the first time didn't say, "I'm confused." Instead, he said quietly, "I know. I just don't do it." That sentence hurt more than any failure. But it also gave him something he had been missing for years: honesty. The next morning, nothing magical happened. He didn't wake up fully motivated. He didn't feel like a new person. But when the old pattern started, something interrupted it. When he reached for his phone, a thought appeared. "You know where this leads." It wasn't loud. It wasn't emotional. It was calm. And that calm truth was harder to ignore than any motivation. He still struggled. He still delayed. But now, every action had awareness behind it. And awareness changes everything. Because once you see clearly, you cannot fully go back to ignorance. Slowly, he started making small changes. Not big dramatic shifts. Just small, honest actions. Working for 20 minutes even when he didn't feel like it, putting his phone away for a short time, finishing one task before escaping. These actions didn't feel powerful, but they felt real, and reality builds confidence. Days turned into weeks. The struggle didn't disappear, but his response to it changed. He stopped asking, "What should I do?" and started asking, "Why am I avoiding what I already know?" That one question kept him grounded, kept him honest, kept him moving, and that's the truth most people never accept. You don't need more information. You don't need more clarity. You don't need another video, another plan, another perfect moment. You already know enough. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is action. And action feels heavy when you are used to comfort, so you call it confusion. Because confusion sounds harmless. It removes responsibility. It gives you time. It protects your ego. But it also traps you. Slowly, silently. Your life is not stuck because you don't know what to do. Your life is stuck because you keep choosing what is easy over what is necessary. And until you accept that, nothing will change. So stop asking yourself, "What should I do?" You already have that answer. Start asking yourself, "What am I avoiding?" Because that answer will change your life. And the moment you stop lying to yourself, even in small ways, you begin to take control. Not of everything, but of yourself. And that is where everything begins. Because in the end, the biggest lie you tell yourself is not, "I can't." It's, "I don't know." And once that lie breaks, your real journey begins. If this story touched you, like, share, and subscribe for more stories.